There we go. Hello, graphic design. So today I wanted to take you through a couple of important logos in the field of marketing. So these are logos that have really stood the test of time and really show a great example of the types of things that we can create with our program Adobe Illustrator, which we'll be starting soon. So it's really great for creating logos and brand identity. So through this course, I really want you to become a better observer of the world around you, getting used to seeing what logos look like, what choices maybe are behind logos, because every decision that a designer makes is for a reason in this important field of logo design. So we're going to talk about three important companies in this field. One is a fast food company. You might be able to guess which one it is. The second is a sporting goods company, and the third is a shipping company. So think for a moment if you can brainstorm which ones you think it might be. And then we'll go ahead and get started. So our very first company that we're going to look at is McDonald's. So the logo, let's see if I can switch slides. Come on now. There we go. So McDonald's, this logo has not changed since the very beginning of this company. So if you think about why a company might keep their logo the same versus why they might want to change it, change things up a little bit. So let's just look at this logo and think about what it might represent. So we have color symbolism. McDonald's is one of those companies that has just, grown exponentially and has really a presence in every part of the world. So like when I was in Italy, there was not a single Walmart in Italy, but there was a McDonald's on almost every corner. And McDonald's also does a great job of being culturally relevant. So for example, McDonald's in China serves rice for breakfast. So taking into account the local cuisine and food that people, there actually want to eat. And they're even in the far corners of the world, like Machu Picchu, there's a McDonald's or an advertisement for McDonald's on the train ride down there. So pretty much everywhere you go, you'll see McDonald's, and I'm sure all of you are familiar with it, love it or hate it. It has very strong emotional connections. And again, it uses that idea of color symbolism. So if you think about what the color red might represent, studies have shown that humans, when exposed to the color red, actually start to salivate. So that means that actually psychologically being exposed to this color makes us hungry. So if you think about, what draws you into fast food companies, most fast food companies have red somewhere in the logo, and that's a very purposeful choice on the part of the designers. Now thinking about what the color yellow might represent, people have said that these, like this, the double arches or, the capital letter M with those soft curves kind of reminds you of the French fries that they sell. But also the color yellow has been shown to make people uncomfortable and a little fidgety. And, it's so stimulating to your eyes, it almost makes you want to flee and want to leave. So if you, think about what that might have to do with a fast food company's personality, they want you to come in, they want you to be hungry and attract your attention, like flies to a lamp, but then as soon as they eat, they really want you to move on out the door and make room for more customers. So that idea of just like really quick turnover. And if you think about how that compares to a company like, say, Bread Company or Panera, as we might call it somewhere else, they have couches, they have like lounge chairs and a fireplace. The idea behind this company with their Wi-Fi, they're like, come on in and stay a while. And then their very sophisticated color palette also reflects that idea of comfort and just being soothing. Whereas McDonald's is more about come in and get out. So that's McDonald's, one of the topmost fast food companies in all the world that has not changed their logo in quite some time. So. And also just, think about what questions these logos bring up in your mind. So the idea of why is the capital yellow M different font than the, smaller capital M? And those were all purposeful decisions. Why do you think that might be is a good thing to ask yourself. Okay, our next one is a sporting goods company that you're probably familiar with, Nike. And Nike was actually originally called Blue Ribbon Sports when it was first created back in 1971 by its owner, Phil Knight. And he hired a graphic design student, actually, by the name of Carolyn Davison to design this logo. And he paid her $35 back then. And as far as I know, that's as much as she's gotten for this revolutionary, iconic logo that really is burned into the memories of almost every human being on the planet. So Designers aren't always paid what they're worth, so keep that in mind. But yeah, anyway, it's been a logo that has really stood the test of time. When Phil Knight first saw it back in 1971, his quote was as having said, "Well, I don't love it, but I think it'll grow on me." And it certainly did, because he has not changed it since then. It may be mixed and matched with lettering, but for the most part, this logo has stayed the same. So think about what this might represent. We have this, it's called the Nike swoosh. So it's kind of like a very iconic swoosh mark. And it's actually representative of a wing. So more specifically, the wing from Nike. Nike is how you pronounce it in mythology, Greek mythology. Whoops. So this is an example of the Nike of Samothrace in the Louvre in France. So this was the original artwork that inspired this design by Carolyn Davidson back in 1971. And you can see the similarities between the swoosh and the shape of the wing. It's a very, very abstracted wing. And, you know, then maybe think or call to mind what that might have to do with a shoe company. Why would, you know, the apparel created by Nike, why would they want that to be associated with the winged victory, is what she was called. She was the goddess of victory in ancient Greek mythology. So the storytelling that these logos can have behind them can be very profound. And then our final company that we're going to look at is a shipping company, bet you can guess. It is FedEx. So FedEx is a company, again, that has not changed their logo. So think about why. When children see this logo, they see the white arrow immediately, whereas college students sometimes struggle to even find the arrow. And this is probably because children, like kindergartners, can't really read yet. So letters don't mean much to them, but shapes are very powerful. So shapes tend to be very subliminal and can catch our attention, even if they're in the background or in the negative space between letters. So see if you can find the white arrow and think about what that might mean. Or what that might have to do with a shipping company. Maybe they are advertising that they'll get your, you know, package from point A to point B in the shortest, you know, amount of time. To that idea of speed or quickness. And again, it's mostly a typographical logo, meaning it's only using text. But then by inserting some of those little shapes into the negative space, you can be very impressive with your, you know, subliminal communication. Because even if adults don't necessarily know that they're looking at it, it can be taken in like a subliminal way. So those are the three companies that have logos that have stood the test of time, and we will be getting very familiar with logos throughout this course as we work through Illustrator and leading up to our actual logo assignment, where you pick a company and you redesign its logo kind of towards the end of first quarter. So if you could comment below, since this is a Flipgrid, you can maybe point out a logo or a company's, you know, graphic emblem or mark that you've noticed that you think you know what it means, or talk about if there's a hidden meaning behind it. You could probably not even leave your room and find several logos that you could talk about. Or you could answer the question of why you think a company like these would keep their logo the same and not change over many, many years. Okay, thanks for tuning in, guys, and I look forward to seeing you next class.